Dams have a major negative impact on rivers that are often overlooked because dams create cleaner power and are important to the milling industry. As true as that is, the vast majority of dams are currently not in use and are only unnecessary detrimental obstacles.
On the Cannon River, there are 6 dams. They range widely in size, function, and importance. Our plan is to improve the water quality of the river and the whole watershed through carefully planned removal, partial removal, or restoration of these dams. A lot of factors go into deciding which approach is the best for each dam. One of the first things that need to happen is a water quality study, the results of which are one of the biggest factors in determining if the dam can be restored or be torn down. The first step for removal is draining the reservoir. After that, you can either fully remove the dam or partially remove it. There are many different ways to partially remove dams. Some of these include installing gates, which allow for control of water levels, or installing rock arch rapids, which allow for fish to travel back upstream over the dams. All of these different actions lead to many different results. These first results would happen if the dam is maintained. The dam will block the water passage, stopping fish, pollutants, and sediment from getting through, of which the latter two build up behind the dam. At the same time, having a dam creates power, which is very beneficial because it's a much cleaner and more reliable source of energy compared to a lot of other power sources. If the dam is removed or rock arch rapids are placed down, fish are allowed to pass through. Once a dam is established, reservoirs are created behind the dam, which allow for new homes to be built around the lake, which once the reservoir gets drained, creates less desirable houses. The drained reservoir will also create new ecosystems in the area where the water used to be.
Bellisby Dam is the biggest and only actively used dam along the river. The dam was originally constructed in 1910 and was the sole source of power between Minneapolis and Rochester. Nowadays, it's not as important, but still provides enough clean power for about 2,500 homes. 10 to 15 years ago, studies were done on the environmental impacts of the dam. The study showed that the lake was home to a new ecosystem that would be destroyed if the dam was removed. It also showed that the fish that lived there didn't need to migrate past the dam, and the sediment gets trapped earlier in the lake rather than right by the dam. In addition to those reasons, the dam generates a lot of power. It created a popular reservoir, and the renovations are a lot cheaper than removal. These reasons have led us to leave this as the only dam not being removed or partially removed in the Cannon River.
We decided to fully remove the Ames Mill Dam. The community of Northfield is currently lobbying to get the dam removed, for the dam no longer serves any purpose. There's also no reservoir created behind the dam, meaning it would be much easier to remove in comparison to some of the other dams along the river. The biggest problem with removing the dam is that it is the tallest dam in the river, aside from the Billsby Dam, standing at 17 feet tall.
The Morristown Pond Dam is one of the smaller dams in the Cannon River. It stands at only 10 feet tall, and besides the Ames Dam, it has the smallest reservoir behind it. Because of these reasons, this will be another dam that will be completely removed. There are no positives to keeping it, and because of the size, it will be easy to remove. Gorman Dam is the farthest upstream, and we originally used it to study lowering the dams to have a reservoir shrink but still be there. It had the ideal situation of being a small dam with a lake behind it that had minimal recreational use. However, it turned out that the dam was very recently destroyed, so we transferred our ideas of the park and new ecosystem to the Faribault dams.
The last 2 dams are both located in the town of Faribault. Roughly 2 miles apart are both the Kings Mill and Woolen Mill Dam. We found that the best solution for these dams is a partial removal. The Kings Mill Dam is the second most important dam on the river, and the Woolen Mill Dam has a historical component to it. Lowering the dams was the best compromise of maintaining elements of the dam while them not being as disruptive to the flow of the river.
Mill Dam is the second largest dam on the Cannon River at 17 feet tall and will be partially removed with gates to help control the water level. This will lead to the shrinkage of the shoreline, creating a new ecosystem. In this area, trees and plants will be planted to help regenerate the land and control the amount of pollution that enters a reservoir. In addition to these plants, a park will be created for residents to enjoy. New paths will be built around the lake to allow visitors to safely explore the new ecosystem found within the park. The new park acts as a space for residents to run, walk their dogs, or play with their kids. The new buildings will be constructed that can be used as visitor centers for guests, gathering spaces for residents, or informational centers to educate people on river health. The reservoir behind the Kingsmill Dam, which is a part of Wells Lake, can be seen on the bottom of the image along with the newly implemented park, paths, and vegetation on both sides of it. With the dams being so close together, there's an inherent visual connection between the two that we highlighted through the planning of similar elements in both parks. Panning up the image, the Woolen Mill Dam comes into view with the park surrounding the reservoir.
The Woolen Mill Dam is unique in comparison to the other dams along the river because of the history in the area. The Woolen Mill is a protected historical site, and on the other side of the river is the County Fair Park. By lowering the water, new areas created that can be used to expand the park. This new land will have a new and unique ecosystem for people to explore. In the new area, we will also plant new trees on the outside of the trail to make you feel more secluded and to act as a pollutant buffer. New trails will be constructed going through it, adding to the pre-existing trails. Our plan to the dam is full removal of one part and partial removal of the part near the mill to keep the historical woolen mill intact. The part that's only being partially removed will be helped out with rock arch rapids to limit the amount of negative impact on the river. Lowering the dam creates new ecosystems along the shores that are connected through bridges that span the newly lowered dams. This can be seen in the foreground. In the park, there will also be new visitor centers which can help teach people the importance of water conservation. A new tree line is also planted which will act as a visual and physical buffer between the city and the reservoir, which is shown in the background.